Supreme rising to the gods and the goddess. Supreme rising to my people. Supreme rising. Supreme rising to all you Shatamu National everywhere they. Supreme rising to the corporate subject and the brainwashed citizens as well. Supreme rising. I just wanna, highlight something serious right now. That Ohio has just experimented on this new ripping off head execution machine, right? And Texas has one that can kill 50 people at once. And they also have another one that if you sign up for have your organ donated as a inmate who is to be executed, you can just have your guts ripped right out of you with this robotic machine. Now there's a robotic machine that just rips your head off, right? Ohio has just experimented on it and execute a prisoner with the rip-off head machine. Now, how is it they're boasting about it's a peaceful and not a painful death? So it's more humane to have a peaceful death because you put them under, it's like you design something to deaden the body so they don't feel pain. Then you have this machine just rip the head totally off. Because that's the execution style for them. Now, they're justifying that, right? Because they're saying it's more peaceful, it's more quiet. But I want to know, right, if execution is still an execution. I want to know if you execution somebody for committing crimes against humanity, for committing multiple murders or whatever, right? That's what they claim. If you're executing somebody for that, and you put them on death row and the execution took place, I want to know what the difference between shooting them, electrocuting them, or hanging them, or even ripping their head off with this new machine. It's still dead. It's dead, you're still dead. Right? You're still killing the person, as they would pronounce it. Right? Now, where I want to know too, which is disturbing, is how come the people them who create this bioweapon COVID-19 and mass manipulate the masses and these politicians and all these people that take part in this scam, right? Which is a mass genocide act against indigenous people and both the citizens alike. And manipulate the people them, trick the people them into thinking that there's a virus and they have some form of antidote. So in other words, they create a problem until they have the solution. That's what they always do. I'll get into that video part another time. Then they come and bring this bioweapon and tell you about COVID-19. Test the shit on ferrets and rats and it eliminate them right away. And they know it's not safe. But yet, it was an agenda in the agenda 2030 and 2021 to eliminate the population on the earth. So they had to disguise it as a virus and then give you a bioweapon that's gonna kill you. And those of you who don't die right away, eventually you'll turn into a robot and then they'll control you. And then when they're ready, they can kill you still because it's programmed where they could activate it by the 5G or the 6G. And then you would either transform into a zombie or you could either drop dead. Depending on what activation they want to occur within that gene editing mechanism that they give you, what they call COVID-19. And how come now they quick to execute these people who they claim they charge for multiple murders, but yet the real criminal is still left unnoticed? Who we think is the real criminals? Those with the badge. Politicians and civil servants. Okay, administrative clerks. Look how many crime has been committed against indigenous people in their own land by these de facto corporation that has no authority to enforce law, but yet use psychiatric institution as far as eugenics to try to silence indigenous people who stand up. Also, use various different type of insane method against indigenous people. Lock down indigenous people, starve indigenous people, torture indigenous people, commit numerous crimes against indigenous people, and they're still roaming free on the street, right? Going in the black suit and claiming they're going in court, calling themselves magistrate and judge, administrative clerk. Okay, we will call them the banker in the bank because court is bank in Latin and the judge behind the bench is called a banker, right? No need for play with them. Get them it straight and raw. How come now that the real criminals, right? Because the criminal is the biggest organization that calls itself government, and its institutions and its system. And that's the true criminal now. Because they're the ones who is disguising, living a lie, and committing numerous acts of genocide on the indigenous land and claiming indigenous people as incompetent to manage their affair. So they come in, steal your land, steal your resources, perpetrate a fraud, create a corporation, create a system, document you as a corporate subject under a birth certificate, turn the birth certificate into a bond system, enslave you every day of your life through commerce, through the so-called security forces they call police, through the code, statutes, and ordinance. You know what I mean? Commit numerous acts of crime. When you stand up for your right, who did then get to jail? When they'll stand up and speak truth, them silence you, using psychiatric institution as a form of silencing you and a form of trying to get you submit to a straw man that they want you to admit to so they could be able to file a fictitious claim and then dip into the bonds. So they use various methods. This is what these people been doing. And these are some de facto corporation. If you look it up, I post the information on my Facebook page showing you what de facto is, and it actually explained to you. You could go and Google, you could go anywhere and look this up. They has no authority to enforce law. It's not a de jure government. Only de jure has real jurisdiction. De facto has no authority. A corporation that is registered on Broad and Dunn Street is not a government, even though it poses as government. Like St. Vincent and the Grenadines, Grenada, etc. All 52 colonies that they claim the Crown created, including USA and Canada and all the rest. Right? All of them is corporation. None of them is real government, even though. So why aren't we seeing this new machine is holding these corporate agents, right? Administrative clerk that goes by magistrate and judge that committed numerous acts of crimes and genocide against indigenous people being executed for the crime. Why aren't we seeing these people who use this bioweapon, who bring it out, Bill Gates and all the rest of them, and even the politicians and the doctors and them who falsely claim that this thing will prevent and cure so-called COVID when there is no such thing as COVID-19, it don't exist. Why these people aren't being held accountable? Why they are not the one to be executed? Right? And how can a pulling off head machine robot be a more peaceful death from somebody who getting shoot, or somebody who getting hang, or somebody who facing an electrical tree? There is no difference. It's the same death. Whether they been sterilized not to feel pain or not, it's still death. They're still being deleted off the face of the planet from the physical structure that they're in. So we need to stand with ground and express our dissatisfaction and our concern about these bumbleclad criminals that roam in the street freely, committing numerous crimes and disguised as a corporation and calling themselves government and committing numerous acts of crime. These magistrates and judges, these prosecutors, these court clerk, and these mercenaries that has the badge and call themselves police. These are the ones them who need to pay for crime against humanity. These are the real criminals. So when you have to bring out that type of machine for pull off head, we want to see some of these magistrate head get pull off too. And we want to see some of these judges and these police that commit numerous crime against their own people get their head pull off too. And we want to see the politicians too. Because the amount of crime these people committing on indigenous soil, claiming that they have some authority when they don't. Them shouldn't even exist. All these corporations been dissolved, been removed. The Montai Papyrus in 2014 removed them. The Queen was proven to be a fraud and fictitious. Therefore, the coronation stone was fake. So if she's fake, that means all of our courts and them and all our corporations are fake. Therefore, these fake actors that call themselves magistrate and judge have no authority. Third of all, if you're not a de jure government, you never had authority in the first place. What are you doing enforcing land indigenous soil? We need to see these people being executed. This thing is getting out of hand. We see them bringing out these new mechanisms to execute prisoners who commit multiple murders against whether children, woman, and man. You know what I mean? And go in school and do some mass shooting, whatever they did. Them they proud to show you they have a new execution method, pulling off head. But they're not proud to tell you that we're going to hold everybody that commit crime against humanity accountable. So you're not going to hold the people them who use the bioweapon COVID-19 accountable. You're not going to hold these fake actors that call themselves magistrate and judge on indigenous soil committing numerous acts of treason, genocide, and war crime against indigenous people. You not hold them accountable, but you want to hold only the people who you claim commit multiple murders against people who you claim innocent. Right? Whether they're innocent or not, those are the only people you want to hold accountable, but you're not holding the politicians accountable. You're not holding these doctors accountable for the crimes they committed through this mass vaccination program with this COVID-19 bioweapon. You're not holding them accountable. You're not holding the police accountable for innocently shooting people randomly and committing numerous acts of crime against innocent people. They're not being held accountable. You're not holding these magistrates accountable for innocently sending indigenous people to psychiatric institutions as a way of trying to silence them, to force them to subject to a straw man so that they could get to file some fictitious charge that it has no jurisdiction over in the first place. Right? And has no authority. You not hold these people accountable. You not hold them accountable for numerous acts of genocide and war crime committed over the years against indigenous people. You ain't holding them accountable. But these so-called people who you caught committing numerous multiple acts of so-called murder against people, only them can be held accountable. But the real criminal is not getting held accountable. You see how unfair and crooked the society and its system is? Today we still have a load of corporation that is done disqualified and said to be removed. There is so much document that has been done and signed to remove all these people, but they claim because we are not standing on we square and we have not designed to take over by setting up our indigenous government, they claim we incompetent, so they're going to allow the politicians and the corporations to still linger and perform fraud. I saw on a Instagram post the other day that these mercenary here in Uromi with the corporation Occupy called St. Vincent claiming that they're gonna ramp up the search and stopping on the street with vehicles and everybody looking for firearm to try to think that they could stop the crime. This is the perpetrated act when them is the one who have the guns on the street. Them is the one who by robbing the innocent people leave people no choice to become gangsters and criminals. So everybody is a product of the system. So those who they claiming they're gonna put away is just a product of the system. So the real people who needs to be put away is the system needs to be removed. And its agents, we don't want them around. They're claiming that they're lingering here because our people has not formed a proper government. We done that enough. We just trying to get certain things in measures and take place. I've done create the constitution and every single thing. I've done create the indigenous government. It's just putting everything in position and in place right now. And the fact that the people them are not quietly awakened and know the position that they should be taking to join with me so that we could remove this corporation called St. Vincent of the Land is the fact why they look incompetent and they still are noticed by the corporation as just a child. Somebody who can't take care of themselves. Whether they're adult or what, you're known as a kid. Because you're incompetent because you're still looking to go in election, you're still looking to vote, and you're still looking to have some slave master rule over you. That disguise himself as a politician, a prime minister, a president. You don't understand the tricks and traps behind the whole system, and you don't understand that they have no lawful standing. But they only become lawful when you give them the opportunity to. Until you stand up and realize enough is enough, time to change it, time to stop what's going on. And they should be held accountable. Right now, we need people like Rishan Matthias Brown and Bertram Pompey for face execution for numerous crimes they commit against people. These people has destroyed many innocent life in this island, Uromi, with the corporation Occupy called St. Vincent and the Grenadines. With this de facto corporation, them is magistrate too. Not even a real court, a fake court, a human trafficking court that uses the birth certificate, bonds, and the driver's license, and etc. to run commerce and people. It's just commercial court. It's a bank. These people has committed numerous acts of crime against people using the psychiatric institution. The amount of people that these two particular people, well, the other magistrate and them is guilty too, but these people has randomly sent innocent people who stand up for them rights to a psychiatric institution as a way of trying to silence them and trying to destroy their brain. This is eugenics and this is genocide. These two particular individuals, along with others, need to face crimes for humanity, war crimes, genocide, and face execution. That same machine that pull off the man them head in Ohio, needs to pull these people head off. Rishan Matthias Brown, Bertrand Pompey, and a lot more of them. This island, Uromi, with illegal corporation, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, which have no lawful standing, and is done dissolve and still lingering. They has been committing crimes upon crimes against their own people. And these two particular individuals, the Bertrand Pompey skin darker than mine. Yeah. Rishan might be a little clearer, about the same complexion. So it's to show you that these are plantation slaves that sell out to master and vow to commit crimes against their own people for the sake of the fiat currency. A promissory note, promise to pay. They're killing for promissory note. They're committing genocide for promissory note. Right? There's not even real money. It's not lawful tender. Has no value. But they're killing you for that. They're committing genocide for that. The amount of eugenics and people here that they send mad by injecting these people wrongfully and putting psychotic drugs on them to a psychiatric institution to destroy their brain because they stand up for the right. Yeah, right now, the dead from the grave go raise and talk about them. These two criminals, Rishan Matthias Brown and Bertrand Pompey, they are the worst. And there is a lot more of them all over the world who done these similar crimes. Yeah, the psychiatric institution was designed to destroy our people. I've said it in video in the past. In the 1700s, they create this institution to destroy the minds of our people. All they do is experiment on you and try the psychotic drugs and see how much it affects the brain and destroy the nerves and send you insane. Drugs don't help people, it destroys you. Only herbs heal your body. Yeah? Organic substance. Right? So we have to really want to know how come they quick to execute people who they claim commit multiple murders. Right? And they would not execute these criminals, the real criminal, Rishan Matthias Brown and Bertrand Pompey, these magistrates and these judges, these actors, because they're not real judge and real magistrate. These are just words they use to cover them up. And if I tell you that they claim in here, they also put in the Searchlight newspaper and they also put on Instagram, Rishan Matthias, and they have it big on Google. If you look it up, they will tell you that she was appointed by England, but England didn't have no authority to appoint she. England fake, England don't dissolve. Right? The bar don't real. Right? It can't. It have no authority to appoint you. How could it appoint you? When you really check it out, they using their own power and claiming these fictitious claims, but in lawfully, they don't have no authority. They don't have no appointed authority. They're fraud. So you just know that it's time for these people to be executed. We want to see these people pay for crimes. And I will go until I make sure that Rishan is pay for crime because she commit that crime against me. She tried to use the psychiatric institution, but it was unsuccessful against me because I don't use drugs and they can't touch me. Right? It was just illegal arrests. Unlawful incarceration. That's all they did to me. Can't touch me. But unlike other people, they destroy their brain. There is numerous people here who these people destroy. And they must pay for crime. So why aren't we seeing these people being held accountable? Right now I'm doing my documentation and doing everything that I can to make sure that she is jogging handcuffed and being charged for genocide and war crime. It may look like nothing happening, but I'm behind the scenes, I'm doing my thing. Because it's criminals to be. This guy himself as magistrate. A magistrate have no authority in a fictitious court. These people have to pay for crime against humanity. And they're getting away with the crime because the regular masses only listening to the fake news and the false information that is presented to them. Instead of stand up and realize these people have no authority and remove them off the fucking land. They're criminals. I want to know how them they ain't face execution yet for the crimes they commit in time to time and perpetrating the fake news as them they could ever be good people. These are the wickedest set of people. These are the true criminals. And the true criminals is this guys as somebody good. So in other words, they call bad good and they call good bad. So they switch everything around. So these people need to pay. End the video, man. Share they say, fire me blazing and well forever.